Lori, you're muted.
So sorry. Good evening, and thank you for joining us at tonight's public meeting on the Good Hope Road Shared Use Path Extension. I hope everyone is well this evening and enjoyed this beautiful day. Presenting tonight, we have the talented Miss Rebecca Park, Project Manager with MCDOT, as well as our consultants with JMT, Miss Amanda Havner and Matthew Strawn. And my name, of course, is Lori Main. I will be presenting this evening. Not presenting, but moderating. So before we get started, I'd like to go over some Zoom instructions real quick for those of us who may not be familiar. Please note, this meeting is being recorded. Everyone is on mute this evening. You cannot unmute yourself. You can unmute during the question and answer and comment period. We will unmute you. Your video camera likewise is off by default. To reduce the bandwidth of the meeting tonight, we request that you please do not turn on your video camera. And if you have a question during the presentation, please send it via the chat and send it directly to me. My name again is Lori Main. And now I'd like to introduce Ms. Rebecca Park.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Lori, can you hear me?
Can you guys turn it up a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, now it's working.
That sounds really good.
All right.
Yeah.
Much better. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I see some familiar faces here. You know, I've been coming to this community since 2010, and this is my fourth project just for this community globally. We're very excited here tonight. We're finally designing this small extension, but yet it's a critical extension out to the Spencerville Local Park. So we're going to start this presentation with a project overview, followed by proposed improvements, schedule, followed by cost estimate, my contact information, and we'll take questions and comments at the end. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's what you see on the screen is a vicinity map. We are doing a shared use path. We're extending the shared use path from Rainbow Drive out to the entrance at Spencerville Local Park. It's approximately, it's about 1,000 feet long. Just like the Good Hope Road Shared Use Path project, this one is also in Upper Paintbridge Special Protection Area. And we applied for the MDOT Bikeway grant, and actually it was awarded. So we're very excited about that. And that happened in October 2022. And we received the grant, and we were able to start the design with the grant money. Next slide, please. Lori. Okay. So again, this is a shared use path that's going to be located on the, I'll call it on the, it's going to be on the east side, which is on the park side, the northbound of Good Hope Road. And just like the Good Hope Road shared use path, the path is 8 feet wide with 5 feet of green buffer between travel lane and shared use path. And we're going to have a pedestrian lighting along the path for pedestrian and bicyclist safety. Next slide, please. So now I'll turn it over to JMT, who is the design consultant for the project. So can either Matt or Amanda come up here and walk us through the design. This is only 35% design, but you get the idea. Thanks,
Rebecca. So as Rebecca said, my name is Amanda Havner. I'm one of the design engineers for this project. I was also a design engineer on the main stretch of the Good Hope Road Shared Use Path project. So as Rebecca mentioned, this project is going to continue that path up to and through the entrance and connect to the existing path that runs kind of through the backside of Spencerville Local Park. So it'll all be one big connection. The main Good Hope Road path that ends at Rainbow Drive is on the other side of the road. And for a variety of reasons, we have crossings to get safely across at the stop controlled intersection at Rainbow Drive. So we're making improvements on all of the corners there. That will be part of those crossings. And then there will be a short section along kind of those first two properties there where we'll have curb along the edge of the road, and the path will be kind of right up against the edge of the curb there to minimize impact on those private properties. And then as the path transitions into and through the park property, that's where we'll get that 5-foot grass buffer, kind of pulling the path away from the roadway, giving that extra separation between the roadway and the path. It continues up and around the corner by the entrance to the park. It'll stay kind of up, there's up on the top of the hill, close to the edge of the parking lot through there, and then tie in down where that existing path comes in at the corner of the parking lot. That's the overall layout. And as we mentioned there, this 35% design, it's kind of early on in the process, but trying to get all of the information out there, get our concept really good and finalized so that our design will move as quickly as possible from here on out. We started looking at some of the drainage implications of this. It'll be mostly open section with sheet flow as much as possible for the water to just flow naturally off of the roadway. We'll have a few bioswales hopefully designed through there to capture the water, do some natural treatment of it before it gets kind of sent back in there. And there is one small closed drainage system. You can see the pipes and outfall that's kind of gathering things at that low point there in the roadway, just pulling it off of the road as well to minimize, we don't want to have ponding on the road or anything like that. I think those are all of the high points. Next slide, please. So then this slide shows some of the typical sections that I just kind of talked through. So in existing conditions at the top, you can see there's just the roadway, and then the hillside goes down off to the side. Right by the intersection, we'll have that closed section shown in the middle that has the curb and then the bike path right on the edge of it, and then grading out beyond that. And then the rest of the path will be that open section with the 5-foot grass buffer, 8-foot path, and then the bioswale in there with grading out into the park area. And we have all of these displays are also in the room behind me, and we're happy for those who are here in the room to talk through any specific questions with those as well after the presentation. Next slide.
Thank you, Amanda. So project schedule, here's a timeline. We just finished the 35% design last month. So our next step for us is to moving forward to complete the final design. And that's going to happen in spring 2024. So a year from now, we're going to see the completed final design, 100% design. And with that, we'll have right-of-way clear by early fall, that will be fall 2024. Sorry, I didn't put that in there. And then once the right-of-way is clear, we'll be able to start the construction late fall 2024. And we anticipate the construction duration will be like 6 months at the most. So we should be able to see the final product, the project implementation by spring 2025. Next slide, please. So here are the breakdowns of the cost. Again, I just want to emphasize that this is based on the 35% design, meaning the cost is going to be likely go up, because what happens is we gather more information as the design progresses, more detailed engineering information is available. So I just wanted to, warn you that this cost probably going to change, but right now, based on 35% design, we are estimating that total project cost will be about 850. Next slide, please. Oh, okay, so here's my contact information, and you can see this information on the project website too. Even after tonight's meeting, please send me email with your comments. We welcome your feedback. You know, but we really try to. We are here to listen to you. You live here in this area, so you know what could work and what might not work, and we can tell you. We just want to work with the community to get this project that benefits the community. I would like to say that the recording of tonight's meeting and the PowerPoint slides will be available on the project website by 5 o'clock tomorrow. So you can re-listen to this presentation. Next slide, please. So that's it. At this point, we'll take questions and comments, and we're going to alternate. This is a hybrid meeting, so there are residents that joined virtually. So we'll take questions from audience that are present in this room, and then the next question will come from the chat. So anyone has a question? Yes, Mr. Halpin.
All right, so for from the road to the park is a drastic fall off, right? So from looking at the park to that road, like, is it going to be a barrier wall? Like, how are you going to bring that shared path? It's going to be plateaued out and then like a wall. Yeah, so yeah, from the park to those people.
Lori, if you could please go back to the slide, go back where the typical section is shown. So, no, too far, one slide back. There you go. So if you look at the proposed side path open section, there's that 3-to-1 slope. So it'll be a gradual sloping down to meet the existing. Yes. Lori,
Yes.
do you have did you receive a questions from the virtual listeners?
Well, first, I would like to give a shout out to Joseph Young. He's here joining us from Congressman Jamie Raskin's office this evening and sends his greetings. Let me just, we do not actually have any questions in the chat yet. However, I do have a gentleman with his hand raised. Peter Kin, can you unmute yourself?
All right, my name is Peter Miokin. I'm the chair of the East County Citizens Advisory Board. I'm a little disappointed that there are only 7 participants now to this meeting, and looks like 3/4 of those participants are meeting are the planning team or the transportation team folks. Secondly, I think by habit and for etiquette that the speaker of these meetings, who are hosting these meetings, should always turn their video on so that the audience can see who they are and who they're talking, who's talking to them. It's only etiquette and it's only polite. Third, was this information shared with the Good Hope Estates Civic Association or Citizens Association? Because they're pretty good at sharing information out, and I was just wondering why the turnout is too low. And thirdly, or fourthly, could you go back to the original map that you had showing the not that one, the previous one? Nope, that one. So this goes from, let's see, from the park across Briggs Cheney. So this connects with the shared path or sidewalk that was extended when under the Ike Leggett's administration up to the Good Hope Rec Center. So when you, in your discussions, you only covered that first part within the oval. Are you going to discuss the rest of the route? All the way past, all the way up to Willow Lane?
So to answer your question, the path, what you're asking about is a Good Hope Road shared use path that was already, it's in the construction, it's getting close to the construction stage. We had public meetings, we had a public hearing in the past, and we had a Good Hope State Civic Association's input throughout the design stage.
Okay.
In fact, tonight we have the president from the Good Hope Estates Civic Association present, along with the other members and from the Civic Association. So these folks here, my understanding is, I see familiar faces here, so I've been communicating with these folks throughout the design stage regarding their concerns about this construction of the Good Hope Road shared use path from the Windmill Lane to Rainbow Drive. So if anybody has a question about that tonight, I'd be more than happy to answer that question. But to
No,
answer your
I was
question,
just curious. I was just curious because I thought the discussion was going to take place from Willow Lane all the way up to the park. But looks like this is just from Rainbow Drive to the park and the discussion of the
Correct.
shared path in that
Yes.
area. So, okay.
And also, yes, this is a reason we don't have a videographer tonight, and we have a limited resources. So I apologize that we cannot turn the camera on and we don't show our faces. But next time, or when we have a hybrid meeting, you'll be able to see us. But with the limited sources we have, this is best we can do right now. And
The 840K you're talking about is already in the capital budget?
correct.
Okay, there's nothing, you don't need community, because the capital budget is open for review. You don't need any further additions in that budget?
No, this comes from this particular project is coming from the bikeway program.
Okay,
It's the level of effort program.
okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Becca,
next-
if I could, I'd like to also give a shout out to Wes Darden, who is here from Councilmember Mink's office this evening. He also sends his greetings.
Great. Thank you. I'll take a question from this gentleman in person. Sir.
Was there any data collected on the number of people who walked that path, who would have walked that path? Like in the past month or past year, or?
To answer your question, we didn't conduct a study, but this request came from the Good Hope Estate Civic Association since 2006. It has a long history, and I received a letter with photos of women pushing a stroller with 2 kids behind her at where that bridge is, near the Hopefield Road, demonstrating how dangerous the road is to walk. So we received a lot of support for this project, but we didn't conduct a study. We didn't have anybody go out there with, counting number of pedestrians, because right now it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous to walk, so nobody's gonna dare to do it. So we're here to make the, safe connection.
Do you think there's a lot of people that walk that way? Because I live right across the street and I don't see a handful of people in the past 30 years.
Yeah, I remember like my previous bosses told me not to get out of the car. He said, Rebecca, you can stay in the car if you're stop at the shoulder, but don't get out of the car. It's dangerous. So Lori, do we have another question coming from chat?
Peter would like to know who the chair of the Good Hope Estate Citizens Association is. I don't know if we know that.
Mr. Chuck
Are you-
Halpin, who's here tonight?
Okay, great.
Yeah. We have Mr., I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Jaru from the East, Jaru Banda? Yeah, sorry, I don't have a. But he's the director of the Eastern Regional County Center, right? So he's present in this meeting. Yes,
I'm Dave Kniff. I'm the president of the Peachwood Estates Homeowners Association. We are on Good Hope and Windmill Lane to the west of Good Hope Road there. And none of our residents are affected by this latest extension. In fact, we're not affected by the original approved extension, but I wanted to address Peter's comments that I was able to get online and the county does have the complete record, including the 100% plans of the entire pathway available on the website. So you can go. And I think what happened was all the meetings and the approvals for that project, I think all occurred during the pandemic shutdown period when everything was 100% virtual. That's very likely why the notices, maybe you didn't see the notice or whatever else. But addressing the pedestrian traffic, for the neighbors in our homeowners association, we do not go north of Windmill Lane ever because of the danger that presents. There's no shoulder on the road. The swales have no gap on the bridge. So this path is going to be fantastic for our neighborhood, because it'll allow us to go from Windmill Lane all the way up and basically have access to that entire North Paint Branch, region, everything around, the parks. And eventually these paths will take us all the way to Burtonsville, right? This is the idea. As it is right now, if you try to walk on that road, you're probably gonna get run over. So this path is gonna be fantastic. Oh, but I did have one question. You had $100,000 in there for property. Is that going to be compensation to homeowners that are going to be affected by the path? Okay.
and also.
Okay, so the county's paying the Parks Department for, okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Lori, do we have any question? Do you have another question coming from the chat?
I do not.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Halpin.
Thank you. Two questions then. For the right of way, when that construction starts, like what can the residents along that anticipate? Like, are we gonna be down to one lane at periods of times during the day, trucks coming in and out, clearing out? Okay. And then is there any kind of notification to the residents in that immediate area, like, hey, this is gonna happen next month, starting on whatever lane? Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. If you could just include me on this and then we can get it to our social media, we'll push it. Okay. Mhm.
Do include those schedules, but I will, now target directly to the civic associations, HOAs, as well as some of the stakeholders who are kind of trusted voices.
So the timing of this is going to be August of 24, right? The extension. August of 24? Fall.
Or can you, that's just-
Get a timeline, please. Laura, can you go back to the timeline slide, please?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Excellent,
There you
cool.
go.
Okay, so the timing of this, so we're looking at right away, early fall 2024. The current work that's going to be done when it starts, like I think late this summer, is it literally just going to roll into that? The existing path, the existing shared path that's going to be put in, the dotted red line, is that literally just gonna roll into seamlessly? We're not gonna have overlap, are we?
No.
Okay. So within that same 2 miles, we're only gonna have that one, everything else will be done. Right. Late summer? Right.
Becca, can you just repeat that?
So, the regional, I keep saying regional, but, to differentiate the two projects. The Good Hope Road Shared Use Path, is going to, go all the way up to the south of Rainbow Drive. And tonight's project will pick up, from the northern end of that, Good Hope Road, original Good Hope Road Shared Use Path, and take it all the way up to the local Spencerville Park. We anticipate starting the Good Hope Road. We anticipate starting the construction of Good Hope Road Shared Use Path from Windmill Lane to Rainbow Drive around September this year. And we anticipate about 15 months for the construction duration for that project. Lori,
Yes.
any questions coming through the chat?
No.
Okay, so we have another person.
Hi, looking at the Spencerville Park, schematic right there, the impact of this shared path going into the park, or is it impacting the parking lot there, or is it coming on the outside of the parking lot?
Yeah, our impact goes into the parks property, but the parking lot is, we don't impact the parking lot. Yes. Any other questions from this audience? No? So there are no more questions coming from this folks that are attending in person. Lori, do you see any questions coming through the chat?
No, no more.
Okay. Well, then that's it. Well, thank you so much for your attendance. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your patience. And I promise you this will be next time we'll hold a public meeting, it'll be a much better hybrid meeting. It'll be a truly hybrid meeting then that you get to see all of us, our faces on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.